Welcome, everybody. You are here to answer the question of what is the most expensive commander deck you could potentially build, right? So, the first question we obviously need to answer here is, if my slideshow wants to work at all, is what is the most expensive commander? That's the first question we need to ask ourselves here. Um, And luckily, if we actually have that answer, we can go to Scryfall and we can use that advanced search button, and we can easily put in creatures and legendary, and we can sort of a price. For me, it's USD since I'm American, and we get the Sliver Queen. The Sliver Queen will be our commander for this entire deck. This is actually a really good thing. Why is it a good thing? Because, well, first, this particular printing of Sliver Queen cost a lot of money. I mean, it's still a really expensive commander regardless, but in this printing, this is the most expensive commander. But what's the bigger thing? It's 5 colors, which means we can use the entirety of Magic the Gathering's colors and color, including colorless, obviously, to make the best entire deck. Now, will the deck work well? No, it's not going to work well. It has no slivers in it. The deck has entirely 0 slivers besides Sliver Queen, and obviously it doesn't have the commanders that you would consider expensive because they're not a really very expensive card. They're not expensive cards in terms of the most expensive cards. They don't hit that bracket. So will the deck have good cards still? Duh. Of course it will. I have Mox Diamonds, Grim Monoliths, Gaia's Cradles. It still has all those. It still has all those little good things. But with their prices here, obviously. But will the deck have bad cards? Oh yeah, it will. Having things with horsemanship, which isn't the worst case scenario, but for the prices that these are, they don't really do a whole lot for us in this deck. Like Elephant Graveyard, in theory, could be really cool, but like again, they don't do a whole lot for this deck. They're not good in this deck, but they're expensive, and that's what we care about. How many lands are we gonna have in this deck? I'm choosing to have 38. Why am I choosing to have 38? For the sheer fact that in my cheapest commanders deck, I did 38 there, so I felt like I should be fair and also do 38. But the other reason is because I wanted to. I normally build decks with roughly 38 lands. I don't strive much different from that. I should try to, but I normally get fucked if I go lower, and I normally get too much land if I go higher. So I just normally leave it at 38. Something unique about the deck before we get to like the raw data of the prices of cards and stuff. There's a lot of horsemanship in this. I didn't realize there was a lot of horsemanship cards that costed a lot because they just got very limited printings. And actually, there's a lot of just like old bordered cards and stuff because a lot of cards that are older obviously have less printing, so obviously they become more expensive. So what are the most expensive cards? Right, that's what you want to know. Creatures. We have Jajun Jin and Zodiac Dragon, which don't do crazy amounts of stuff. I mean, 1 damage during your upkeep for a 5/5 that costs 4, and Zodiac Dragon, which just is an 9 mana 8/8 that comes back to your hand once it's put into a graveyard. They're going for a pretty penny right now, just because, of course, they don't have a lot of printings that are in good condition. Again, take all this with a grain of salt. These would be in like pristine condition cards, but this is all going through Moxfield, by the way, and through the pricing for TCG players. For enchantments, we have Chain of Mephistopheles and Moat, which Moat is just a very interesting card in general. And then Chain of Mephistopheles is a whole lot of text that I don't want to read right now. But they're going for nearly 1,000 each. I should say I'm doing this in order of the what's in the deck most. So there is mostly there are like 20 plus creatures in this deck. There's like I know there's 13 enchantments, 13 artifacts, which the most expensive artifacts are the Candelabra of Tawnos and Mog's Diamond. You get a lot of stuff from I don't know if the Candelabra's from Arabian Nights. It's definitely not from Arabian Nights, but since I'm thinking about it, there's end up getting a lot of cards from Arabian Nights in there. Of course, Mox Diamond is an expensive card. We've already seen it once in here because obviously it's going to have the good cards. If we go all the way back, the good cards, it's already one of the most expensive cards. So, going back to where we were, the Candelabra of Tanos is a very, very expensive card, obviously. And then obviously for sorceries, what are the most expensive sorceries? Well, we have All Hallows Eve. I think it's Eve. And Transmute Artifact, which I forget. I think there's like 8 or 9 sorceries in here in the totals, each costing 400. And then instances. There are literally 2 instances in this deck, and well, they cost this much. A lot of these are game changers, obviously. I think this deck has 13, 14 game changers. It doesn't have the entirety of the game changers list, but it has a good amount of them. Lands, we have the pinnacle of pricing here. We have the top knuckle at Pendo Vale and Mishra's Workshop, with both being over $2,000. And of course, what's the most expensive card? I'm not sure why. I guess I did fully do everything when it comes to the text, being all the same, but it's fine. Tabernacle of Vale is the most expensive commander card that you can pay for. Um, Actually, land is the first entirety 3 of the most expensive cards. All in the 2000 range, I believe. I believe Vizar Magda is. What's the least expensive card that's in this deck? If we're not including lands, because I have to actually throw in some different lands at the end here to try to fit that 38 land mark. I could have made the deck technically a little more expensive if you get rid of more lands and you add more expensive stuff. But keeping to our restriction of 38 lands, the least expensive card that isn't the land is Sun Se Young Conqueror, one of our horsemanship cards, actually, at $112 still. Some decks go for less than that. Most of the decks I have go for less than. Um, Still kind of crazy, but and the moment you've actually all been waiting for is the actual price of the entirety of the deck. And that is, drum roll, everybody, $34,000. $34,000 for every single card. Most of it goes through lands because there's a lot of $1,000 plus lands that exist. But yeah, the deck list will be down below. You guys can look at the deck list below and see everything. Again, this deck is not good at all. And a lot of good cards. Would it win a game? I don't know, because there is no good. It would be a boring deck to play, honestly. Because you're not doing a whole lot. You're just kind of placing cards down. You're not really getting much off of triggers or anything cool happening because there's no synergy at all with the deck, because the commander has nothing to do with the entirety rest of the deck. But we're not technically not done. There's more. That's supposed to have an animation, but that's fine. You can get this to 37,000 by foiling literally everything. If you foil the cards that can be foiled, Grim Monolith goes from a $300 card to a over $2,000 card, which is where you get most of this value from here to here. There is more. You can get way more expensive, and then of course the other 1,000, that 600 roughly, that's sitting there. Oh, I'm going backwards instead of forward. That roughly 4,000. That not 4,000, 3,600, nearly 4,000 comes from the other cards foiling. There's another one that goes from like 300 to like 900. That's where the other 600 goes in, and then there's like 4 or 5 cards that equal up to like an extra like 200-ish per foil. Not many get foiled, but some do. And that's everything. That's the most expensive deck in Magic the Gathering. It is quite literally a weird deck with Sliver Queen. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Uh, you can comment down below what other type of decks you want me to build. It can be a most or least something deck, or it can just be a cool commander you want me to build. Or a weird commander you want me to try to build the best deck possible for it, because I want to kind of do more Magic stuff. This is only the second Magic video I've made, so I'd like to sprinkle some of Magic in here because I am a little obsessed at the moment. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Bye. Oh, welcome to the extra part where I'm gonna do a little bit more talking. If you made it this far, So this is the full deck list that we're looking at right now. I just wanted to quickly show you some of the fun colors. Black and blue seem to have the most expensive, obviously, besides colorless, because 34% of the deck is colorless stuff. And 13 out of 38 lands produced are colorless is what I meant to say. That's the average mana value of the deck. It's not a whole lot of red mana production. And this is what it says. These are the quick add basics. All these I already have. This is like if you were to deal hands, this is what you would be getting. Wow. You would get black mana. It doesn't have a whole lot of unique mana, but like you can see some of the shock lands are in here that are cheap, like the cheaper shock lands that make themselves in there. Oh god, the tabernacle. This is a little pricey, but I just wanted to kind of show this, and this is the average mana value of expensive cards. This is like extra information that I didn't want to bore people with, but if people actually care about this stuff, then I'm just kind of fitting it into the end here. At the end here, I wanted to show like how little cards actually are. Like this Metalworker is what I was thinking of. One of the bigger priced ones that went from foil to non-foil, and then all the lands. Like Ancient Tombs one that it's like there's only a few newer cards in here. Most of them are really old or much older cards. Besides Shocklands, obviously, which can if I actually didn't foil the Shockland, I forgot to foil the Shockland. It can go up to 3,700 now if you foil the if you foil all your Shocklands. But most of the foils come in with the actual lands, as you can see. But yeah, I just thought this kind of information would have been nice to have seen as well. Seeing you have a 100% chance of playing these on curve. Oh, okay. The zero mana costs. It says you have a 100% chance of playing these on curves. The one mana values you have a 98. Okay, yeah, well, yes, I understand it now. I was confused for a minute. What it meant. The one card that is a. It didn't want to show it. Where is it? There we are. The one 9 mana valued one, you have a 9% chance of playing these on curve. Really? A 9%? I'm kind of shocked. I was confused at what it was trying to ask of me here for a second. I actually had never seen this before, so I thought this is also interesting. You have a 60 there's a 65% chance, 67% chance that you're not gonna be able to play your which are the majority of the day. All the weird creatures that exist in 4. Um, but there's that little end bit that adds more to this video, I guess. Bye for real.